Dinner was quiet, too quiet. Forks scraping plates, the occasional sigh, the low hum of the ceiling fan. Jaden sat across from me, slouched like always, earbuds half in, half out. He chewed with his mouth open. Didn't care. Never had. Melissa served his second helping without a word. She never looked at me when she did it. The peas clinked against his plate like she was feeding a guest, not her own son. I'd made the mashed potatoes. She didn't mention that either. Then Jaden said it. No anger, no sarcasm, just a lazy swipe, tossed like a crumpled napkin. Man, at least Dad never nagged us. Just like that. No warning, no build-up. One sentence spoken with a mouth full of food. And everything changed. I didn't speak. Didn't ask him to repeat it. Didn't look at Melissa. I just pushed my plate forward, barely touched, and stood up. My chair scraped loud enough to make them flinch. I walked out of the house, quiet, controlled, like someone leaving a funeral early. Outside, the air was thick with Georgia heat. Street lights humming. The neighbor's dog barked behind the fence, then stopped like even he could sense something was off. My truck sat under the dying sycamore I trimmed last summer. The one Jaden said made the yard look old and weird. He wanted to cut it down. I'd said no. Some things stay, even when they stop blooming. I sat in the truck. Didn't turn the engine. Just stared through the windshield at the bug-streaked glass. Hands on the steering wheel like I was still trying to hold something together. And I thought about it. About how it started. About how we got here. 6 years. My name's Evan. I'm 49 years old. I've been a licensed electrician in Atlanta for 27 years. I met Melissa at a friend's 4th of July party. She was bright, funny, twice divorced, wore red lipstick like armor, said she didn't want any more kids, just wanted peace. I believed her. Jaden was 13 when I moved in. Long hair, closed door, permanent scowl. His dad, the real one, was already long gone by then. Not dead, just vanished. No birthday cards, no check-ins. Just a ghost that came back once in a while with a weak joke and a promise he wouldn't keep. I didn't try to be Jaden's father. Never forced it. Never asked him to call me Dad. I just showed up. That first year, I bought him a new backpack when his old one split at the seams. Paid for his braces. Fixed the shower handle when it broke. The one his mom said she'd been meaning to get to. When he turned 16, I co-signed for his used Honda. Taught him how to change the oil. Paid his parking tickets when he was too ashamed to tell Melissa. Never told her. He called me Evan. Never more. And I never asked for more. I just worked. I provided. I kept the lights on. Paid the bills. Sat through the PDA meetings where I was introduced as Jaden's stepdad. With that pause before the word, like the title carried a warning label. I showed up when his biological father didn't. That's the thing people never talk about, what it means to show up for a kid that doesn't want you, that never asked for you, that makes you feel like a squatter in your own home. It's a kind of love, but it's also a kind of madness. Jaden started college last year. State school. Nothing fancy, but it was still $12,000 a semester by the time you counted room, board, books, fees, and the constant stream of unexpected expenses that came like clockwork. And every time I paid, without a word, not for thanks, just because that's what you do. You keep the roof over their heads. You patch the holes they don't even see. 2 weeks ago, he cracked his phone screen. I paid for the repair. 3 days ago, his laptop crashed the night before a paper. I covered the overnight fix. This morning, his car needed 2 new tires. I put them on my card. 7 payments in the last 30 days. All from my account. And tonight he sat across from me and said, "Man, at least Dad never nagged us." He meant himself and his sister, though she was still away at school. She's less cruel but no less indifferent. They're a package deal. Children from a previous man. Resentment wrapped in 2 bodies. Melissa didn't say a word when he said it. Just kept eating. No pause. No defense. No glance in my direction. Like it hadn't happened. So I stood up. Left the food. Walked out. And now I sat in the truck, alone in my driveway, 6 years into a role that wasn't real. A name I was never allowed to claim. A house where I paid the mortgage but didn't get a seat at the table. I opened my phone. 7 receipts. Car insurance. $138. 63. Dentist. $620. Full out of pocket. His dad's name wasn't on file. Laptop repair. $429. Rush service. Tuition installment. $2,000. Third of 4 this year. New tires. $367. Plus installation. Job referral bonus. $500 I gave up so he could get hired. Phone repair. $189.99. I sent them all to him. No words. No caption. Just evidence. Then I opened the family group chat. Melissa. Jaden. His sister. I sent the same screenshots there. No reply. Not even the courtesy of a read receipt. Not even a blinking ellipsis. I waited. 10 minutes. Nothing. 20. Still nothing. Then I saw it. A separate message from Melissa. Did you have to do that? Not. He shouldn't have said that. Not. He was out of line. Just. Did you have to? I didn't respond. Because in that moment, I understood something too clearly to unsee it. I was never one of them. I was useful. I was tolerated. But I was not his father. Not their family. I was a man who kept the lights on. And in return, I was expected to stay silent while they spit in my food. So that night I didn't sleep. I sat in the truck until the bugs died down and the streetlight flickered out. I thought about every time I bit my tongue. Every insult I let pass. Every chore I did without being asked. Every moment I played the part of a man who had a place in that house. And I thought about the silence that always followed. How no one corrected him when he talked to me like I was a burden. How Melissa never said thank you when the bills were paid. How every act of sacrifice was met not with love, not even with acknowledgement, but with expectation. That's what killed me, not the insult, the fact that it was normal. So when I got home that night, I didn't go to bed. I opened my laptop instead, and I began to make quiet decisions. A few days after the dinner, I heard him in the hallway. Jaden, talking on the phone, loud and careless like walls didn't exist. I hadn't meant to listen. I was in the living room, fixing the leg on a wobbly chair he broke last month and forgot about. He didn't know I was home. He laughed. A short, dry laugh that already made me uneasy. Then, yeah man, he's still trying. Fixing stuff around the house. Asking if I need anything. Like he's playing house or something. I just let him. It's whatever. My real dad might be crap, but at least he never pretended. I froze. Pretending to play house. That's what he said. Like this life, this roof, these meals, these years of work, was just a costume I'd put on. Like the man who tucked him in when he was failing math and showed up to his high school orientation wasn't real. Just a stand-in. An actor in a role he never asked for and never respected. I didn't confront him right away. What would I say? That I heard the truth? That the words I never wanted confirmed had finally been spoken out loud? Instead, I waited until dinner the next evening. Melissa was doing the dishes. Jaden was at the table, scrolling his phone, playing some game, thumbs tapping, barely aware of me. Jaden, I said, calm, even. I heard what you said last night. He didn't look up. About what? To your friend. About me pretending. About not needing me. He smirked, eyes still on the screen. I didn't mean it like that. And you don't have to pretend you're my dad. It's weird. Just like that. No apology. No hesitation. Just the truth served cold. Melissa stepped in between us, drying her hands on a towel. He's grown, Evan. Respect his boundaries. That word hit like a verdict. Boundaries. As if I had crossed a line by believing I belonged. As if my crime was offering too much. I didn't reply. I didn't fight. I just nodded. Quiet. Hollow. That night, I sat at my desk and opened every account. His college tuition portal. His medical plan. The dentist's office. The mechanic. The bank account where I'd set up monthly transfers just to help with food and gas. I removed myself from everything. I withdrew every connection. No announcement. No warning. Just a clean cut, the same way his real father had disappeared from his life. Except this time, it wasn't a man vanishing into thin air. It was a choice. A silent declaration. I am not your father, and I will no longer carry you like one. I started with tuition, logged in, deleted my payment method. The next invoice would bounce. Then the dentist. I called, told them I wasn't his guardian anymore. They asked for a reason. I said it was a correction. They didn't press. Then I called the mechanic. Explained the situation. Jaden had been getting my customer discount for years. No more. He'd pay full price now, just like everyone else. Finally, I opened the shared bank account, the one Melissa didn't even know existed, the one I used to slip Jaden extra money for books, clothes, nights out when he was embarrassed to ask his mother. Closed it, transferred every cent back to my account, deleted the history. Then I sat back, and I waited. Took 2 days. The first text came Monday afternoon. Jaden, hey, did the card get declined or something? My car's still at the shop. They said something about a discount being removed. I didn't reply. That evening, Melissa brought it up. Jaden's confused. He says the mechanic charged him almost double what he expected. I shrugged. Probably a mistake. She stared at me, eyes narrowing, but didn't push. She knew. The second text came the next day. Jaden, tuition payment bounced. You know anything about that? I didn't reply. Instead, I walked past his room that night. Lights off, door open. He sat on his bed, hunched over a glowing screen. He didn't look up. The third text came the morning after. Jaden, I got an email from the dentist. Said I'm no longer listed. I have a checkup Friday. What's going on? Still, I didn't reply. Melissa cornered me later. He says his appointments are being canceled, that he's being removed from things. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, he's grown. I'm respecting his boundaries. She flinched, just slightly, then turned away. It was a slow unraveling. First confusion, then panic. Jaden started coming home more often, staying longer. The fridge emptied faster. He hovered around dinner, offering to help with dishes, small talk. Things he never did before. But it was too late. Because here's the truth no one likes. Love isn't enough. Not when respect is gone. Not when silence has spoken louder than blood. I spent 6 years stepping over insults, enduring cold shoulders, working double shifts to keep him afloat while he looked at me like a stranger. And the one time I ask, not for gratitude, not for love, but for acknowledgement, I'm told I'm pretending. Pretending kept echoing. I didn't sleep much those nights. Not because I was angry. I wasn't. I felt nothing. Just a stillness. Like something inside had stopped bleeding. Like a wound had finally closed, not healed, but sealed off. The next blow came from Melissa. She sat on the edge of our bed, arms crossed, staring at the floor. He's young. He doesn't understand what he's saying. I'm not asking him to understand, I said. Just to recognize. He's not you, Evan. You can't expect him to treat you like a father just because you've been generous. Generous? I almost laughed. Melissa, I paid for his life. She didn't respond. And that silence, that quiet agreement was when I knew. I had been a ghost in my own home. Provider, not a parent. A bank account with a pulse. And now the account was closed. Jaden stormed into the kitchen, slamming the door behind him hard enough to rattle the spice rack. Melissa was slicing peppers for dinner. I was at the table with a cup of coffee, watching the sun die slowly through the window. He didn't even say hello. Why'd they charge me $500? He barked. You said that shop gives you discounts. I didn't answer right away. I took a sip of my coffee, let the silence stretch until it got uncomfortable. Then I looked at him. I canceled it. He blinked. What? I told them you're not covered under my name anymore, so they charged you full price. He looked to Melissa like she'd fix it. She didn't say a word. I stood up, rinsed my cup in the sink, and added, You said I'm not your dad. Why would I be paying for anything? He stared at me, stunned, like the words couldn't register. That's messed up, he muttered. That's like petty. I was joking. No, Jaden, I said, turning to face him. You were honest. Maybe for the first time. Melissa stepped in. Evan, come on. No, I cut her off. He's a grown man now. That's what you said. Time to face grown consequences. Jaden stormed off, muttering something under his breath. Melissa didn't follow him. She just stood there, holding the knife, looking like she wanted to say something. But nothing came. The bills started piling up fast. Tuition notices, emails from the university threatening late fees, a bounced payment from the dental clinic. Even the streaming services he used gone. I changed the password. Petty? Maybe. But I was done funding comfort for someone who met my sacrifices with contempt. He came back a few nights later. I was watching TV. Melissa was upstairs. He stood in the doorway for a long time before speaking. Why'd you cancel everything? His voice was quieter this time. Not demanding. Just confused. Maybe afraid. I didn't mute the show. I just said, because you told me I was pretending. So I stopped pretending. That's not what I meant. It's what you said. He stood there, fidgeting with the sleeve of his hoodie, the same one I bought him last Christmas. He looked smaller suddenly. Not like a man. Not like a boy. Something in between, standing in a space where nothing made sense anymore. I don't have anyone else, he said. You have your dad, I replied. The one who never nagged you. He flinched, didn't say anything, then walked out. 2 weeks passed. He didn't come around much. Melissa kept quiet, her movements sharper in the kitchen, her voice flat during dinner. I could tell she blamed me, but she also knew better than to say it. She'd spent 6 years watching me carry this family, watching me pay, show up, fix everything. And now she was watching what happened when I stopped. 3 weeks after it all started, I got a message. Not in the group chat, not some vague emoji or sarcastic meme. A real message. From Jaden. I messed up. Can we talk? I stared at it for a while. I didn't reply right away. Instead, I got in my truck and drove to the old diner, the one with the sticky menus and the burnt coffee, the one where I used to take him when he was flunking math and too ashamed to tell his mom. I picked the same booth we always used to sit in. He showed up 15 minutes later. No hoodie this time. No phone in his hand. Just Jaden. Shoulders hunched, eyes tired, like life had finally caught up to him. He slid into the booth, didn't look me in the eye. Thanks for coming, he muttered. I nodded. What's going on? He shrugged. Nothing adds up. Rent, school, gas. I'm working more hours, but it's not enough. I thought I could handle it. You can, I said. Eventually. I didn't think it'd hit this fast, he said. I guess I didn't realize how much you were paying for. I sipped my coffee. Bitter. Thin. Perfect. That's the thing about support, I said. It's invisible. Until it's gone. He nodded, quiet, then looked up, eyes glassy. I didn't mean to disrespect you. I was just angry. I don't even know why. Anger's easy, I said. Gratitude takes work. He didn't deny it. Just sat there, chewing his bottom lip. I waited. Finally, he said, I'm not asking you to fix everything again, but is there any way you could help with school? Just enough to stay enrolled? I thought about it. Then I reached into my jacket, pulled out a folded piece of paper. I slid it across the table. It was a simple contract. 1 page. At the top, for every $1 you put toward tuition, I'll match it. Not as your father. Not as your bank. As someone who believes in you. He read it. Twice. Looked at me. You're serious? I'm always serious. He smiled. Weak. Grateful. And something shifted in his face. Not love. Not yet. But respect. The beginning of it. We sat there for a while, talking about schedules, finances, his job. For the first time, he didn't interrupt me. Didn't roll his eyes. He listened. When we got up to leave, he held the contract like it meant something. Outside, In the parking lot, he paused before getting into his car. "Evan," he said, "thanks. For everything. Even the stuff I didn't notice before." I nodded. "You're noticing now. That's enough." He got in and drove off. I watched until his taillights disappeared. I don't know what happens next. Maybe he'll follow through. Maybe he'll mess up again. But the difference now is he knows what I was, what I did, what I stopped doing. And more importantly, he knows why. A month passed. Then two. Jaden paid the first chunk of his tuition himself. Minimum wage job at the print shop, late nights doing food delivery on his scooter, weekends spent working the register at some bookstore downtown. I never asked how he managed it all. I just waited for the receipt, emailed at 3:27 a.m. on a Tuesday, like he couldn't sleep until he hit send. I matched it. Wire transfer. Same day. No words. A week later, he sent another, smaller this time. I matched that too. He never called. Never thanked me again. Just kept working. Kept sending the proof. Kept doing the thing I never thought I'd see. He tried. And that was enough. He fixed his own car this time. Bought used tires off Craigslist. Called a buddy to help him install them. No discounts. No calls to me asking for shop recommendations. The next time I saw him, he looked different. Tired, yeah. But something else too. Shoulders squared, jaw set. Like he finally understood what it meant to carry himself through the day without a net. Melissa noticed it too. She didn't say anything, but I caught her watching him through the kitchen window as he left one night. The groceries in his hands were all off-brand. His jeans had a tear in the cuff. But he walked to that car like he owned every step. That evening, after the door closed, she turned to me at the table. "You think he's okay?" I shrugged. "He's learning." That's when she said it. Quiet. Almost like she didn't mean to speak it aloud. "He was scared you'd never forgive him." I didn't reply. What was there to say? Forgiveness isn't something you hand out like spare change. It's not a switch you flip. It's a decision you remake every day until it starts to feel like breathing again. And truthfully, I wasn't sure I had forgiven him. But I had released him from expectation, from resentment, from the quiet fantasy I'd carried all these years that one day he'd call me dad and mean it. That fantasy was gone. And what replaced it was better, cleaner, real. A few months later, he dropped by unannounced. Knocked on the door, no text, no warning. Melissa opened it. I was in the garage, tightening a leaky valve on the water heater. She called out, "Jaden's here." I wiped my hands, walked out. He was in the hallway holding a small box, taped shut, labeled in marker, old stuff. He saw me, nodded. "Hey, hey." He held out the box. "Just clearing out my closet. Stuff from high school. Some of it's yours. Tools. A charger. That watch you let me borrow." I took the box. Set it on the bench near the door. "Appreciate it." He scratched the back of his neck, like he was working up to something. "You still need help around here? I got a free weekend." I blinked. "Help?" "Yeah. Cleaning gutters. Maybe pressure washing the deck. Whatever. I know I used to, not really help much." That was the closest he'd come to an apology in weeks. Maybe months. And I let it stand. I nodded once, slow. "Saturday good?" He smiled. "Yeah, Saturday." And that was that. He showed up at 9 sharp. Brought gloves. Bought his own lunch. Worked alongside me without a word of complaint. When we finished, we sat on the back steps with 2 cold drinks. He sipped his soda, sweat on his brow, a scratch on his arm from the ivy I told him not to grab. He pointed at the patched spot on the deck, the one I'd fixed 3 summers ago after a storm warped the wood. "Funny," he said. "Everything used to just work. I never thought about how much got fixed." I sipped my drink. Miracles cost money. And respect. He nodded. No sarcasm. No joke. Just understanding. And in that moment, I felt something shift. Not the old wound healing, but the scar settling into place. He still didn't call me dad. He probably never will. But he calls me when the sink leaks now. When the battery light flashes on his dashboard. When his paycheck's short and he's weighing rent against textbooks. And every time before he asks, not assumes, not expects, asks. The other day he called me sir. Half joking, half sincere. Thanks, sir, he said. After I helped him draft a dispute letter to his apartment complex. I laughed. Don't sir me, you're not in boot camp. Could have fooled me, he muttered. You got stricter than a drill sergeant this year. Yeah? How's that working out for you? He paused. Then, best thing that ever happened to me. He didn't say it for my benefit. He said it like it was true, like he needed to admit it to himself more than to me. And I believed him. Melissa and I still don't talk much about what happened. She asks about Jaden's classes sometimes, or mentions when he visits. But we both know something shifted in that house, something that will never quite shift back. Because the foundation we stood on for 6 years wasn't solid. It was obligation, assumption, me playing father, them playing grateful. Now we're building something on real ground. Unsteady, uneven, but real. He still introduces me to his friends as Evan. Still signs my birthday card with just his name. Still holds back that final word, Dad. Like it's too heavy to lift. But he shows up. He helps. He remembers. And that's more than I had before. Sometimes that's all you get. Not the name, not the bond you imagined, but the respect earned after the illusion dies. And sometimes that's enough. So now I ask you, was I wrong to walk away when the line was crossed? Was I wrong to let him feel the emptiness of a life without my hand beneath it? Or was that the only way he'd ever see what I was? Would you have endured it? Or would you have done the same?